So I'll just quickly introduce Dennis. So, oops. Lucky I'm an engineer. I'll fix this while introducing Dennis. So Dennis is a software engineer with CSIRO, and he has been involved in the UAV challenge with myself and numerous people in this audience for many years. So Dennis does a lot of the background organisation that makes the UAV challenge work, and he'd be familiar to a lot of people here. So first of all, how many UAV challenge teams do we have in the audience? Can you put your hands up so I know where you are and I'm speaking to? Oh, only a few. All the others are busy building their planes. That's good. Okay. So the UAV challenge. First, I want to acknowledge a great friend of ours and a friend of many people in the audience, Rod Walker. Rod was a professor at QUT, and he was also a co-inventor of the UAV challenge, along with myself and George Curran, who couldn't be here today. Sadly, Rod passed away in 2011, but we never forget Rod, and in fact, the winners of the UAV challenge win the Rod Walker Trophy. So I always like to say, we miss you, Rod. The goal of the original UAV challenge, as written down in the rules, is you can see on the screen. So the goal was to demonstrate the utility of UAVs for civil applications. The competitors will be required to develop a UAV that could save lives by quickly and cost-effectively delivering medical supplies to critically ill patients in the Australian outback. And it took a long time. We deliberately set up the UAV challenge so that we knew it would be hard, and we deliberately set it up so that we knew nobody would complete it in the first year. We just didn't quite realise it would take that long for people to actually complete it. We actually thought it was easy when Rod and I first talked about this. We thought we were making it too easy. This was that event that took all those years. You can see a large area. It was a search and rescue competition. We were really trying to drive the technology and the techniques so that unmanned aircraft could be used and do these sorts of things pretty much autonomously. So the teams had to find Outback Joe, who was lost in that green region there. They didn't know where he was. They had to use systems on board the aircraft and find him. We told them what Outback Joe was wearing. Outback Joe was very safety conscious, so would wear a nice bright yellow shirt and blue jeans and a Cobra hat. And the team that could find Outback Joe would win $50,000 and deliver him a water bottle. These are the quick stats. So over the period from when we launched the competition to when it was won, we had 350 teams enter. 2,000 team members took part. We also had a sort of an adjunct competition for high school students. So these figures are back from 2014. Then we had 80 high school teams and 400 students. So a lot of people, over 2,000 people, have taken part in the adult version of the UAV challenge. This is the event that where it was finally won, and you can see those figures there. So the interesting thing about the UAV challenge is it actually is open for 18 months. It's not that people apply a few weeks ago and then turn up to an event like we've got this week. Back in 2014, we had 116 teams enter from 20 countries, and then there's a series of milestones that these teams have to demonstrate. And of course, they drop away. So you can see them drop away here. So you go 116 to 74 to 28 to 20, and then 17 teams actually took part in that final event. So that's a lot of people. The event was won in 2014 by a team called Canberra UAV. There's their aircraft, there's the team behind, and there's Outback Joe lying on the ground, and there's the water bottle just out of reach of his arm. So it landed within 2.6 metres, and that is incredible. There was a windy day. Part of their system is they found Outback Joe. They did a special manoeuvre around him to figure out the wind the wind direction and magnitude. They then dropped their parachute in a very special way so that they landed very accurately. They also wanted to make sure we were measuring it accurately, so they then monitored us while we actually measured the drop. This is how good they were. These images are courtesy of that team. This is the image from their UAV. That blue box is automatically put on there by their computer system. It identifies where people are. So it took 8 years to do that. Just some quick outputs here. what do we get out of this? We're trying to drive the technology and drive the systems. All sorts of bits of hardware were built by third-party companies not involved directly with us, but they saw there was a need and they got on board and just started building things. We have Seppo in the audience here somewhere. I saw him earlier. Where's Seppo? There we go, Seppo down there of RF Design. He told me at the break that their radio system you see there on the bottom left, which was originally designed to meet the specs of the UAV challenge, and teams started to use this sort of around 2010, 11-ish. There were lots of teams using it. That has now sold 10,000 units, which my calculations means that's $1 million of sales, because they're about $100 each, right? And apparently they're selling more and more and more. So it's incredible. So this is just one example of how things that are being developed for the UAV challenge, including autopilots and safety devices, are kind of becoming commercial reality. Now I was going to hand over to Dennis to talk about what's happening this week and the event that's happening this week. And Dennis, I've got just because I haven't shown him the slides, I've got some slides after this showing the aims, but I thought I'd let you explain the mission.
Thanks, John. So the first thing I'll say is what you can see up there at the moment, that's not the real map of what we're doing, that's a sample so that competitors know what their mission will look like, but they don't yet know where they're actually going. So the scenario we have this time is that Outback Joe, he's our protagonist, he's again in trouble, and he's at a remote medical consultation with his doctor. To progress the diagnosis, he needs a blood test. But as happens in this region, roads are cut due to flooding, and so he can't just come to town to get the blood test done. So the teams have to develop an unmanned aircraft to fly to where Joe is. He's got a sample taking kit already, so he can easily take his own blood sample, but that needs to get back to town. So the aircraft needs to take off from the base, fly through a defined corridor to where Joe lives, find exactly where he is, because by the regulations they need to stay at least 30 metres away from him. We don't want the aircraft landing on him, so they need to find exactly where he is, land more than 30 metres but less than 80 metres away from him, because he's sick. We don't want him walking ages to get to put the blood sample in. So they need to land automatically or autonomously. Joe will then approach the aircraft, place the blood sample in the aircraft, push a button so that lets the aircraft know that the sample has been installed. He'll then walk away, and a minute after he's pushed the button, the aircraft can take off again, which it must do autonomously, take off, and then trace its route back to the base. So the base is the Dalby Model Aero Club, and that location is shown accurately on the map up there, but the remote end will be announced to teams tomorrow, but it's sort of within the range. So the goals, it's improved search algorithms, so that before Outback Joe was in an open field, he was lying down, he was relatively easy to find, whereas now he's going to be in a more cluttered area with trees and other obstacles. We've increased the range that the challenge is over, so now it's more than 10 kilometres between the base and the remote end, whereas before it was at most 7 kilometres, and it was 7 kilometres from ground to air. Here they need to be able to have a base station at Dalby Model Aero Club and an aircraft that lands on the ground over 10 kilometres away, and that's a difficult challenge. To help them do that, we've allowed them to use 2 aircraft. One aircraft can go and land, and another aircraft can support that in some way, such as a comms relay. And also one of the biggest challenges, and what's motivated different aircraft styles, is that the aircraft can take off from the Model Aero Club, but at the far end it's not a prepared runway, it's just an area that Outback Joe chose near his farm to stand. And so they need to find out where they can land in that area. They need to take off and land autonomously at the remote end. At the base they can piloted take off and land, but there's bonus points for doing it autonomously. So you want me to keep going, John? Yeah. So this is just an example of, a summary of all the sponsors and supporters. So the UAV Challenge is organised by QUT and CSIRO, but there's no way we can do it ourselves. And it's not the reason we do it is because it brings a huge number of organisations together to do more than we could do by ourselves. So I can't. Are we going to list them all, John?
With the chickens going off. Oh,
Oh, okay.
right. Okay.
Should I be standing on the chicken? So we'll just we can see more of them. We've got promotion around for them, but we can't do it with all the support of these organisations. So you want to wrap up? Or we're done.
And you can follow the event this week. So if you're Twitter addicts, you can go to UAV Challenge. If you're Facebook people, where you'll see a lot of photos, go to UAV Challenge on Facebook, and we'll be updating this minute by minute as we go. And good luck to the teams, even though there's only 2 of you here. And please come out. So you'll get the details of the address if you go onto the website. Come and meet the teams tomorrow. The teams are all arriving tomorrow, and anybody is welcome to come along and meet the teams and see their aircraft. Okay, thank you.